Hello everyone and welcome to Season 5, Episode 23 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host Travis McNeil, and today we continue our countdown of the top 50 matches in NXT history with match number 28 on our list, which is the six-man tag team match between Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, and Adam Cole against Aleister Black, Ricochet, and the Velveteen Dream from the NXT Halftime Heat event held on February the 3rd of 2019. Because this match does contain discussion, regarding the Velveteen Dream, who was someone with accusations about him that came out during the Speaking Out movement. As always, I struggle to present these videos, but I decide to look at the match themselves, not the competitors. I completely understand if you choose not to watch this video, and when I tag, this video on my social media channels, I obviously, will not tag the Velveteen Dream in it. This match is one where your mileage is certainly going to vary. It's a match that, when I thought about the top 50 matches in NXT history, I maybe thought it would rank a little bit higher, but I wasn't sure how it was going to hold up. A lot of the matches in this countdown I'd seen multiple times, prior to doing this project. And this was one I watched, live at the time and hadn't seen again since. And it's a match, when it happened live, I was completely blown away by it. Now, looking back on it, I wasn't sure how it was going to hold up. It's still a lot of fun. It's still unique. We're going to talk about all of that. But, I definitely didn't think it was as good as I did at the time, where I thought it was pretty perfect for what they were trying to accomplish. So Halftime Heat was an experiment that the WWE did in 1999 with a match between The Rock and Mankind that I think got a ton of viewers. Wrestling and the WWF product at that time was so hot. Everybody was watching wrestling. So rather than the Super Bowl halftime show, you could turn on, I guess it would have been the USA Network at the time, or I don't think Heat was on MTV at that point. But you would turn on Sunday Night Heat and you would get to see this match of Rock and Mankind in an empty arena. So a very famous match. So here we are, 20 years later. WWE decides to revitalize the concept, but this one was a little different. Not everybody's watching wrestling. So rather than, do a big match from the main roster or a gimmicky match or, something very storyline driven, they decided to take, arguably at this point, the 6 top wrestlers in NXT and let them loose and have a highly athletic, contest that basically served as an advertisement for NXT and the WWE Performance Center. I think basically being the approach of, maybe you haven't watched wrestling in 20 years, but it's not how you remembered it. These guys are athletic, they take risks, and it's very exciting, and it's, not your grandparents' wrestling, right? So this match is basically what would happen if WWE tried to do a Dragon Gate 6-man tag. That's kind of the way I looked at it. Aside from, one very kind of, more traditional kind of tag team heat sequence, which didn't last very long, this match is constantly moving. It's big moves galore. It's spot, instead of the please don't stop chant, from Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor in 2006, we got the WWE version, right? The Fight Forever chant. Like, that's what this match is all about, is giving you as much heart-stopping action, in a tight, condensed package as humanly possible. Now, I think back to season 1, I did this program in the top 50 matches of 2020. And one of the matches that made my list was the match between Edge and Randy Orton from Backlash that year. And that was a match that was really polarizing because it opened this big discussion of, what is pro wrestling? And does pro wrestling need to rely solely on a live crowd and that interaction? Or, can wrestling be in this, sterilized, set up environment, pre-taped and edited meticulously to create this perfect package for the viewer? And then, there was a lot of debate online about that. And I remember, saying, well, I think it can be that. I think wrestling is at its best when it's that organic, audience interaction standpoint, don't get me wrong, but I think there is a place for that style of match, and that's something that's, always been used, Japanese wrestling, we would see a lot of clipping, especially in the 90s. And ECW television, we would see a lot of clipping. And, promotions have always done reshoots, and we've always had, plants in the crowd and things like that. And that's essentially what this match is, even though it aired live to the best of my knowledge. It was held in the WWE Performance Center. The crowd was full of NXT wrestlers, friends and family, maybe some of their, regular fans that they can kind of coerce into reacting a certain way. And it created, this really hot environment, but this, illegitimate, fabricated environment that, is forced to be hot and is reacting, in the exact way that the WWE producers want them to react to sell this NXT product as this, exciting thing, to these viewers that the WWE hoped they were getting, that, maybe weren't wrestling fans, that had seen advertisements on Yahoo or, whatever website that they would look at about this halftime heat. I don't know how many people viewed Halftime Heat. It was for free on YouTube. I think at this point it's got maybe like 2-3 million-ish views. A couple of years removed now. It was available on the WWE Network. I think it also streamed on like Facebook and all of these other things. So I don't know overall how successful of a project this was for the WWE, but at the time there was, that buzz. You'd see ads on different websites, like I said, for this. And it was something that, being an NXT fan, I was excited for. They have Shawn Michaels on commentary for this, so that's kind of that bridge to, fans past who remember Shawn Michaels. And here's, one of the best performers of all time really putting over, these young guys that he has such a stake in their careers. In this match, it's designed in a way that, everybody gets this moment of spotlight and gets to come out of this match looking great, and it's all very, very successful. So in our opening, you have Ricochet just flying all over the ring and, out-quicking Johnny Gargano because that's what he does. We have Aleister Black in there who just mauls Adam Cole with kicks and strikes because that's what he does. When the Velveteen Dream checks into the match, his gear is all like football attire because this was happening at halftime of the Super Bowl, and he, does a 3-point stance and he really exudes that charisma, right? So, you really get a quick, showing of what all of the baby faces are about, to kind of see like, wow, like this guy, like he's amazing, he's so fast. Wow, this guy, look at these strikes, he should be in MMA. And whoa, like this guy, he's like the new Hulk Hogan Macho Man, he's so entertaining, right? Like that was the goal, and they did a really good job at the start with that. But if you're a long-time viewer, you get kind of some other little bit more deep cuts, I'll say, where, you get Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, not quite being on the same page. We're kind of in the midst of what is about to be a sort of DIY reunion as they go through the Dusty Rhodes Classic. And, I've talked about this, then Gargano would kind of turn on Ciampa, and it was all the ruse and whatnot. So they're planting the seeds for that here a little bit, where Gargano goes to tag and he looks at Ciampa and chooses to tag Cole, to kind of, like I said, if you are that longtime viewer, to go like, oh, I understand that reference, right? So, we get a big dive sequence. Like I said, this match is kind of like go, 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 go. And before we get that, we actually get a kind of a neat little spot where all of these guys do dive fake outs. So, Black does the K-Brada into, his cross-legged seated pose, and Ricochet does his backflip into the Iron Man pose. And then Velveteen Dream kind of like rolls all around and like poses in between the two of them, right? To, again, kind of showing, his charisma and everything that they have in here. The heels are heels, so they take over on the floor with some dirty tactics. And we get really our only kind of slow down portion of this match with the heat sequence on the Velveteen Dream. It doesn't last long, but again, it shows, what Dream's good at, this emoting ability and that charisma, that physical charisma that he had, so well too. It eventually leads to a hot tag to Ricochet, who takes out all three guys. We get the dive sequence. The end point on that was actually really cool, where Gargano goes for the slingshot spear, and Ricochet actually sails over top of him with a tope con hilo. That was really neat. We go into like a big signature move kind of rush, where like everybody's hitting not their finishers, but big moves that they would use as near falls in all their matches. So, Gargano hits like the one final beat DDT, and Velveteen hits, that kind of reverse leg sweep hammerlock DDT he hits and what have you. Ricochet is just completely on fire. They kind of do like a 2-on-1 where he has to battle against Cole and Gargano. And he rolls out of Gargano's, schoolboy into the kick and hits a standing shooting star, then rolls through and goes for a moonsault. And Adam Cole blasts him with a super kick in midair, a homage, back to their match that they had at Brooklyn 3 the year before. So it's, at this point, this match just becomes go, 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 spot, 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 spot. There's reverse Ranas. There's the Adam Cole busts out the Panama Sunrise Canadian Destroyer on Ricochet. So again, if you're a new fan, that remembers Hulk Hogan and Macho Man or the Ultimate Warrior or even Rock and Austin, there's potential that your minds are being blown with these crazy athletic, dangerous moves. And if you're an existing fan, well, you're still just loving the action, right? So it really works in that regard. Of course, it's an NXT match in this era, so we get the big trope of all 6 guys kind of facing off in the middle of the ring and doing the Fry Takayama fists as everything starts to break down. Tommaso Ciampa and Velveteen Dream do a suicide suplex both over the top rope to the floor. So they're doing big, big, big stuff. Ricochet gets taken out. DIY finally come together and hit the meat in the middle, but Adam Cole adds a super kick in this point. But that's broken up for a near fall. Velveteen Dream gets a great moment of shine where he has to rally against all 3 heels and try to fight him off by himself. And that works to a point until he's cut off by a double super kick. And then our finish that eventually sees, the baby faces overcome the odds and defeat the heels, is that we get all of this heel miscommunication, where they're going for strikes and they're missing and they're hitting each other and they're almost hitting each other and stopping short. And again, that plays into, that DIY kind of, are they on the same page? Are they not on the same page? Eventually, Aleister Black just hits all of them individually at different points with Black Mass. Velveteen Dream gets the rolling Death Valley driver on Adam Cole. Ricochet punctuates it with a springboard 450. Dream goes up the top and hits the Purple Rainmaker, and it's enough for the 3. So again, all 3 babyfaces get to hit big moves in that finishing sequence at the end. The heels lose nothing in the loss, and the crowd, they go wild. So at the time, I thought there had never really truly been a match like this in the WWE. So therefore, it really felt different and special to me. Watching it now, have we really seen a match to this level of go, go, go in the WWE since then? Maybe not, but this became more of that signature kind of NXT style. So it does lose a little bit of its luster there. We have AEW now, so we're seeing matches like this on TV on a regular basis, with the Elite, the Undisputed Era now being formed in AEW as well. So, it doesn't feel quite as special now as it did at the time, but it is still a really fun match. Like I said at the top of the video, your mileage is going to vary depending on how you feel about that, spot fest style wrestling, how you feel about, fabricated crowds. It's really weird to see a guy like Oney Lorcan, who's this kind of tough, no-nonsense individual, in a football jersey in the crowd being all happy-go-lucky chanting, this is awesome, but it is what it is. I didn't really try to pay too much mind to it. This match, of course, you can find it on the WWE Network or Peacock, but, being that it originally aired on YouTube and all these social media platforms, it is available on YouTube for free. I will link it on my Twitter account. You can subscribe to my channel here on YouTube so that you never miss a video. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestling50, and please join me again tomorrow as we continue to count down Pro Wrestling's Top 50.